Hi, I'm Cindy Abbott, Letro for Behind the Camera, and I think all of us like to hear about success stories, but sometimes we're surprised when it happens to someone who is newly graduated from a television and fine arts program and film program. Kyle Mecca is one of those people that graduated from the television and film program right here at Buff State, where we are on the campus. And first really film out of the box was sold to Sony. Tell me a little bit why you went into television and film. You're from Kenmore, New York, and you're trying to make your living here, and obviously you are.
Yeah, for me, I always grew up, loving movies, and I attribute that to my grandfather and both my parents and stuff like that, and just loved it. And grew up with a little camcorder and ran around with my friends making westerns and all different types of genres. And, then I got to that point in your life where it's like, okay, what are you going to do for a living? And, it's a question of like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. But it's like, why not just stick with a passion and a dream? And luckily enough, Buff State offered a program like television and film arts. And at first I thought I wasn't prepared, and I got in on my writing, actually, and got in there and hopefully was able to flourish. And
now, were you able to do work on professional films while you were in this program? I mean, did you just
No, it was a totally, compared to how it is now, and the renaissance of Buffalo film and all that stuff, there was nothing like that existed back then. There was, I think, one or two movies came through, like Henry's Crime with Keanu Reeves and like American Side right towards the end, but there really wasn't anything here. So it was just a bunch of us with a camera making short films and just learning that way, and me, researching and reading books, and YouTube just started taking off, so it was like, okay, I could look at YouTube videos and learn that way, but it was more just learn by doing, not really experiencing a real set.
Did anyone try to deter you in the program from going out and doing this on your own?
No, not at all. It was one of those things that's just, we felt it was before really Buffalo really grew, or it was like at the beginning. And I always feel like, because it was at the beginning, it's how it all came to be about, was that you had a bunch of creatives who were having a lot of fun. And I met Matthew Nardone of ND Studios, and I met Joe Blodgett, who's associate with ND Studios and an own, filmmaker of his own, and it was just at the right time, and we all just started creating.
And where'd the idea come from? Because the movie is called Dwelling.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about that, because it's a little wild.
So the film's called Dwelling. It's a horror thriller, kind of a callback to like 70s type slow burn type horror. I'm not really about the jump scares. I'm about the suspense and having you on the edge of your seat.
I love all the lingo with his jump scares, and slow burn.
Yeah. And the film is about a young couple who deliberately move into a haunted house to speak to loved ones that have passed on. And for me, I actually grew up with my grandfather. He would take me out all these different places, and whenever we were in the car together, I always tell him, like, tell me a story. So he would come off the top of his head different stories, but he told me one about this idea of this mirror that was painted black, and it stuck in my head, just the image of like a mirror that was painted black. And growing up, like, I was always into like the paranormal
and you would see people in this mirror painted black?
So it was that, like, he got it from a garage sale and he scraped it off, and then weird things started happening.
Oh, really? Oh.
So I grew up, loving the paranormal and loving horror movies and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, but he never finished that story. So I felt like, okay, that's my responsibility, is to finish that story. So the idea already stuck in my head. So I used that as my my conduit, in the film. Is like, I'm going to bring this mirror in it and set it around an actual family that has real problems that people can identify with, that everyone's lost a loved one, everyone's wanted to talk to that loved one, but what if they have the ability to?
So now, how long did it take from the time that you started working on this to actually selling it to Sony?
So I graduated in 2013, and we met all these people in Buffalo, and we decided Buffalo was the perfect place to do it because we have the resources and we have a bunch of creative minds. Why not? So we did it. We raised money in 2013 into 2014 on Kickstarter. We raised like 14 grand. And then we ended up getting all these investors off of it. And then 2014, from 2013 to 2014, I wrote the screenplay. 2014, we shot it in the summer, July into August. It was like 15 to 20 days. And we shot from everywhere to out in Clarence Center, where the house was, to the old Millard Fillmore Gates Hospital right before it got knocked down. We were in there when it was abandoned. And then from there we edited, and we then got a sound designer locally and from LA. Then from there we then found distribution and sold it and created a EPK package, which is to sell. And we got a deal about a year and a half ago with Sony Pictures, which was
and so people
insane.
can see Dwelling now. How
yes,
do they do that?
Dwelling is available on all different on-demand platforms. The one that I promote the most is Amazon.com. It's available to buy on DVD or stream. It was a Walmart exclusive when it first came out and sold out in Western New York and around the country.
So you are living the dream, really.
Yeah, right now I am. But like I said, now it's what's next.
Yeah, what is next for you?
Yeah, so for me, I work locally in Buffalo as a non-union assistant director and a casting director and kind of utility guy, all over the place. But at the same time, I'm always writing. So I always have stuff cooking up, and now it's
I was joking, living the dream, but what for you would be the dream?
The next thing?
Yeah, the dream for you to do.
I think for me is, it's really simple to me. It's just that I always want to be a storyteller and keep being a storyteller. I was able to do it once. I want to do it again. As long as I'm able to do that again on the same scale, if not a little bit bigger, that a wider audience can identify with me or identify the ideas that I create, I'm happy. It's not really about being rich or going someplace fantastic and working with these big actors and stuff like that. I just want to tell stories. And as long as I can keep telling stories, I'm living my dream.
How important is it for you to be in Buffalo and tell those stories?
It's phenomenal because I grew up here. It's where the dreams began, and I'm able to now keep telling them in a hometown that I've made my friends with. I've learned how this industry works, and I still currently work in the industry. And for me, even if I moved to LA or moved to New York or got bigger, it would be, I always want to bring it back to Buffalo because this is my home.
How important is the film credit did you benefit from that? You've worked on many films that have benefited from it. There is always controversy as to whether the government should be providing a credit to filmmakers.
Well, even my small film, as Dwelling, as small as it was and as micro-budgeted indie as it was, we benefited from it. We got the tax credit. And that was before it was even as much as it is now and as beneficial as it is now. And every film that I worked, my entire career is based off of this tax credit and the ability to have it. Film wouldn't be here if it didn't exist, and I wouldn't be able to experience these sets and become a better filmmaker and live my dream without it.
I was thinking too, you're familiar as a graduate of the program. Does it allow most of the kids that graduate, I would assume, go someplace else or have gone someplace else before this sort of resurgence in Buffalo? Are you seeing many of those graduates now staying in the area?
Oh, absolutely. But from me until probably even 2 years from now, it was very much, we have to go to New York, we have to go to a program, we have to go do an internship here. But now we have it here. We have not just internships here, but you can work on set. You can experience how a film actually works. And now these last couple graduating classes from Buff State, from UB, from Niagara University, from all these colleges in Buffalo, they have the ability to work on the set, and we're seeing them there, and they wanting to grow. Because I think it's also that these kids have the attitude that needs to do that. and it makes me happy because it's my alma mater, and you get to see new energy and new creatives join this, and that's what I was, and that's what I still am, so I want to surround myself in it as much as they probably want to surround themselves in it.
Well, it's really a win-win from all aspects. We see the impact on the local economy. It's that rise of the creative class. It's a fun kind of, it's a different profession, but it's one in which you can be very creative and bring a lot of creativity to it. Well, Kyle, we just hope that you have greater success. You are.
Well, thank you.
You're someone that makes us all proud, and we hope that folks will continue to come to Buffalo and make films. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, and join us next time for Behind the Camera.